Imagine standing on the bank of a wide, cold river. The year is 43 AD. There is nothing here, no towers of glass, no parliament, no palace, just marshland, forest, and a river the locals call the Thameses. Now blink. 2,000 years collapse, and this same patch of earth has been burned to ash, conquered by Romans, sacked by a warrior queen, seized by Vikings, ravaged by plague, consumed by fire, and bombed for 57 consecutive nights. Every single time it rose again. How does a river crossing in occupied Britain become the most consequential city in Western civilization? To understand London, we must start from the very beginning. Londinium 43 AD, 410 AD. Emperor Claudius, mocked by the Roman Senate as a fool, ordered the invasion of Britain purely to prove his military worth. 4 legions crossed the English Channel and chose a Thames crossing site almost accidental in its genius. They called it Londinium *. Within a decade, it was a roaring commercial hub. Merchants from Gaul, Spain, and the Mediterranean trading wine and olive oil for furs and slaves. Roads radiated in every direction, all leading back to London, shaping England's geography for 2,000 years. Then came Boudica. When Roman administrators seized the lands of the Iceni tribe, flogged their queen, and assaulted her daughters, they created an enemy with nothing left to lose. Boudica led a coalition of tribes in absolute annihilation, destroyed Colchester, and marched on London. The Roman governor abandoned the city. Those who stayed were massacred. Boudica burned Londinium to the ground. Archaeologists still find the evidence, a layer of red ash half a meter thick beneath the modern city streets. The scar of a single day of fury. The Romans rebuilt with walls 6 meters high, still visible today in pub basements and church foundations. Then in 410 AD, Rome let go. The legions left. The greatest city in the northwestern Roman world was swallowed by silence. Saxons, Vikings, and Alfred 410, 1066 AD. The Saxons built Londinium * to the west, thriving, wealthy, and dangerously undefended. The Vikings noticed. Norse longships raided with devastating efficiency, and in 851 AD burned Londinium entirely. King Alfred the Great retook London in 886 AD and moved the settlement back inside the old Roman walls, creating the template for the City of London, the famous square mile whose boundaries remain almost unchanged today. When Edward the Confessor built Westminster Abbey to the west, he declared London the indisputable heart of England. He could not have known how violently that heart was about to be seized. Normans and the Black Death 1066, 1400. On 14 October 1066, Harold II, the last Saxon king, was killed at Hastings. William of Normandy marched on London, starved the city into submission, and on Christmas Day was crowned in Westminster Abbey. His nervous guards, hearing the crowd's acclamation, mistook it for an uprising and began burning surrounding buildings. A perfect metaphor for Norman rule, extraordinary power exercised with extraordinary anxiety. William ordered construction of the Tower of London, rising over the skyline as military installation and psychological weapon. Its message was unambiguous. We are here. We are not leaving. By 1215, London's merchants were powerful enough to force Magna Carta from King John, winning the right to elect their own Lord Mayor, an office continuing without interruption for 800 years. Then in 1348, ships from the continent brought bubonic plague. It reached London by autumn, swollen lymph nodes, blackening skin, death within days. London lost perhaps half its population. The plague returned repeatedly for decades, yet it cracked feudal society open. Fewer workers meant higher wages, and 30 years of resentment exploded in 1381 when Wat Tyler's rebels stormed the Tower and executed the Archbishop of Canterbury. The revolt was crushed. But London was never quite the same. Tudors and Reformation, 1485-1603. The Tudors transformed London through religion and audacity. When Henry VII's demand for an annulment collided with papal authority, he removed England from the Catholic Church entirely. The 1534 Act of Supremacy made the king supreme head of the English Church. Centuries-old London monasteries were stripped overnight. 2 of Henry's wives were beheaded inside the Tower. London watched it all and kept trading. Under Elizabeth I, the city's population doubled. Merchant adventurers reached Russia, West Africa, and the Americas. On the South Bank, the Globe Theatre produced the most remarkable dramatic literature in the English language. Shakespeare wrote Asterisk, Hamlet, and Lear for audiences standing in the rain for a penny. When the Spanish Armada broke in 1588, Elizabeth declared she had the heart and stomach of a king. The bonfires of celebration across England that night were the bonfires of a nation discovering what it was becoming. Civil War and the Great Fire, 1642, 1700. When Charles I attempted to arrest 5 members of Parliament in 1642, London closed its gates against him and civil war erupted. On 30 January 1649, Charles was executed outside the banqueting house, tried for treason against his own people. The crowd fell silent when the axe fell. Nobody could say whether the groan that followed was grief, horror, or relief. After Cromwell's austere Commonwealth, the restoration of Charles II released an explosion of energy. Then London was hit twice in 12 months. In 1665, the Great Plague killed 100,000 people, a quarter of the city. Then on 2 September 1666, fire broke out in a bakery on Pudding Lane. The Timber City was designed to burn. For 4 days, London burned 13,000 houses, 87 churches, 400 acres of ash. Christopher Wren's new St. Paul's Cathedral, its dome visible across the entire city, became London's definitive statement: we rebuilt, and we rebuild better. Empire and slavery, 1700–1900. The 18th century made London the financial engine of the largest empire the world had ever seen, but the wealth rested on foundations long denied. Ships financed on Thames wharves carried hundreds of thousands of enslaved people across the Atlantic. The profits built the elegant squares of Mayfair. When Parliament abolished the slave trade in 1807, the government paid compensation to the slave owners. The enslaved received nothing. That debt was not fully repaid until 2015. The Industrial Revolution pulled millions to London. The Thames became an open sewer. Cholera killed tens of thousands. The crisis peaked in 1858 with the Great Stink, the smell so catastrophic that Parliament itself adjourned. The political impact was immediate. Joseph Bazalgette's 1,100-mile sewer network, completed by 1875, eliminated cholera from London forever and still runs beneath the city today. The Blitz, 1940–1945. On 7 September 1940, the German Luftwaffe launched the first massive bombing raid on London. For 57 consecutive nights, bombs fell. More than 43,000 civilians were killed. Entire streets disappeared. Families slept on underground platforms. London did not break. The fierce attachment of Londoners to their city, built from 2,000 years of survival, proved stronger than the Luftwaffe. The post-war city rebuilt differently. The National Health Service, founded in 1948, provided universal health care for the first time. When the Asterisk Empire Windrush docked at Tilbury carrying 492 Caribbean passengers, it began a decades-long reshaping of London. Communities from the Caribbean, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and West Africa established themselves across the city. The process was not painless. Racism was pervasive. The 1981 Brixton riots forced limited reform, but London's capacity to absorb its own diversity proved stronger than the forces trying to stop it. London Today 2026. On 7 July 2005, the morning after London was announced as host of the 2012 Olympics, suicide bombs struck the Underground and a bus on Tavistock Square. 52 people were killed. London's response was characteristic. The Underground reopened within days. the city did not stop. The 2012 Olympics became London's great moment of self-presentation. Danny Boyle's opening ceremony told the entire story of Britain in one night of television. The world watched open-mouthed. Then came fracture. The Brexit referendum of 2016 split the country in half. London voted to remain while much of England voted to leave, driven by economic pain and fury toward elites who had captured globalization's gains while others bore its costs. Then COVID-19 in 2020 did what plague, fire, and bombs had never managed. It emptied the city. Ghost trains ran through silent stations. More than 20,000 Londoners died. The London of 2026 holds 9 million people, the largest population in its history. Its financial sector endures. Its cultural output shapes global culture with influence far beyond its size. And the deepest question, the one London has been answering for 2,000 years, remains. Whose city is this? Who belongs? And on what terms? From the moment Roman engineers drove the first stakes into the Thames riverbed, this place refused to be ordinary. Burned, rebuilt, abandoned, reinvented, conquered, devastated, consumed, bombed. Every disaster met with the same response: clear the rubble, lay new stone, open the doors again. 2,000 years, one city still standing. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more epic historical documentaries, and let us know in the comments which chapter of London's history hit you hardest. We'll see you in the next one.